Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, August 17th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a time for change call tomorrow, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Do something for yourselves in this very moment. Take a deep breath right now. And give yourself permission to stop everything that you are thinking about of great importance and simply slow down and breathe. Welcome the life-giving airflow into your lungs. Feel how it fills your body with energy and presence. Relax deeper into your belly. Let it open and expand. You are safe and protected, so relax into this wonderful, safe feeling. Oxygen is always here, moving as nourishment into you. Notice what it's like to let the life energy in it pour into you. Sip slowly, gently, and notice how the sweetness of simply being alive is totally tantalizing to your entire being. Receive the healing energy available to you in this very moment, for there will never, ever be another moment like this moment. Give yourself time to drink in this amazing life all day today. Just do it because you are so absolutely magnificent. There's a state of bliss. I've spoken about it at times. And the state of bliss is a bliss of Samadhi. That's Samadhi, in case you want to look it up. And as Carl Jung stated, enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but of making the darkness conscious. Are you ready for a powerful spiritual experience that will transform your entire life? Enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but of making the darkness conscious. Samadhi is an ancient Sanskrit word. Sanskrit's an old, very old language in India. And Samadhi is an ancient Sanskrit word that literally means the bliss from transcending the mind. Okay? Samadhi, translated, the bliss from transcending the mind. It is a state of perfect, clear seeing that recognizes the divine within each and every single one of us, in everything around us, and in every person we meet. The state of Samadhi is a profound spiritual experience where you explore deep joy, expansive feelings of lightness, love, connection to the divine. It is the first step on the path towards enlightenment. Samadhi consciousness is unique from other paths on the spiritual quest in that it manifests by simply connecting with the source of pure consciousness and remaining there for long periods of time. Samadhi is one of the highest spiritual experiences you can have, other than a state of nirvana. It opens you up to your most enlightened self, who is free from worry, fear, any attachment to this world. One who is living their life in Samadhi consciousness feels only love, oneness, and a deep peace within every life experience they have. There is a deep knowing that all is one, and that oneness is at the core of everything and everyone. You realize it is truly who you are. In Samadhi, there is such a tremendous feeling of bliss because our inner judge and critic is no longer dominating our minds. Only consciousness dominates our mind, as our minds are very silent. There may be thoughts that pass through the mind, yet we are no longer controlling, managing, or clinging on to them. One who has entered the state of Samadhi discovers a deep, personal, intimate merging with the God Source. They meet the divine being within themselves and connect with the sacred spirit within everyone they meet. The ego within others and ourselves is easily seen and transcended in Samadhi consciousness. We are truly unified, connected, and at peace with everyone in this universe on every level. There is this natural, eternally expanding realization that this world and our egos are not real, and that the real you, the soul, spirit, and divine essence, is who we all truly are and will never die or cease. To reach Samadhi, it takes a profound state of constant, deep surrender to the divine. By relaxing into each and every life experience, you will soon relax deep enough into yourself and discover pure consciousness, which is not attached to any thought, any feeling, or idea. By surrendering to this consciousness on a moment-to-moment basis, you will eventually arrive at a state of bliss. You wander restlessly from forest to forest while the reality is within your own dwelling. The truth is here. Until you have found God in your own soul, the whole world will seem meaningless to you. Kabir. Now, some of us, in the first Samadhi experience, they can last several months. You can have several Samadhi experiences, and they can happen spontaneously, depending on where you are focused. And you could just be walking along, experiencing life, and boom, Samadhi enters. Anything is truly possible in this divine spirituality and light and connection when we realize that we are one with the universe. You have the power to create. Your power is so strong that whatever you believe comes true. You have the power to create. Your power is so strong that whatever you believe comes true. Don Miguel Ruiz Samadhi. Samadhi can happen to anyone who is devoted to finding the truth of who they really are. The divine spiritual essence within each and every one of us now in this moment. The mind, however, is very addicted to old patterns. It isn't used to seeing aspects about yourself, others, and the world as permanent instead of a transient phase. Breaking these patterns may require the focus of a guru, spiritual teacher, and or deep inner devotion to self-inquiry to unravel itself and to find this permanent state of freedom. The untrained mind is like a wild, caged animal who is unable to trust, unable to relax and remain at peace for even 10 seconds. In Samadhi consciousness, the mind is trained to be here now. So there is no mind chatter. Your mind is completely at ease with life, fully in the present moment, and truly free from worry and concern. Problems from your past become illusory issues, which you realize you are always free from the appearance of their grasp. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who are truly alive. Harold Whitman. In Samadhi consciousness, you are so completely free and energetically unlimited that all things are possible to you. It's not just that they seem possible, they are possible. Your mind, body's vibration is so high that your ability to manifest is truly unstoppable. The wildest thing is that this ever-expanding state of bliss is available within each and every single one of us right now. And in the event you're open to exploring what this magical state is like, dive right into it. Give yourself permission to move yourself, your first spiritual step, towards Samadhi. Life is a sacred it's a mystery. Everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Everything is energy. Match that frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics, Albert Einstein. The universe we live in is more intelligent than the mind can comprehend. There are many hidden dimensions to everything and everyone within it. We all truly exist in the most fascinating, multidimensional, and infinitely mysterious field of conscious, intelligent energy. This divine harmonic matrix is vibrating with life all around us. It is inside us and is constantly connecting with our every breath, thought, emotion, and heartbeat. Just look all around you. Everything is constantly exploding in an orgasm of wild, unabandoned creativity. Right now, millions of flowers are blossoming, giving birth to the most amazing sights and scents. Amazing sacred geometric crystals are forming, perfect patterns beneath the Earth's crust, while millions of animals, birds, insects, and humans are having intercourse in the most interesting positions. This is just the tiny tip of the iceberg as to all the wild, mysterious, and beautiful things happening on this planet right now. If you observe nature long enough, you'll see everything is always changing, including you, the body, which you're not. The body is always changing. They say that we cannot step into the same river twice. By the time we've stepped in it once, everything, including ourselves, which means the body, is already completely different. This means you cannot have the exact same sequence of thought patterns and feelings that you had last month or last year. Our minds and emotional intelligence is continuously growing, evolving, and changing. We came into these bodies highly intelligent beings who were meant to outgrow the small trousers we once wore in second grade. And truly, we wouldn't really want to try putting them on again. If you take a microscope and you look into the DNA inside every cell in your body, you will see that they all contain a sacred imprint that is unique to you. In each quantum particle of each of our DNA is this wild and uncharted, magnificent, intelligent mystery within it. This mysterious intelligence is embedded within the foundation of your blood, bones, and brain. You cannot escape from it, no matter how hard you try. What's interesting is that the mind tends to take for granted this sacred mystery every day. The mind has this tendency to create habits, fall into these little comfort zones of thought, safe emotional thought patterns. It finds ideas which label life, placing ourselves and others into a tiny compartmentalized little thought boxes so we can feel more secure, self-assured, somewhat organized, standing in the face of this wild, uncharted, infinite mystery that's surrounding us in all directions. The moment we put anything in this divine existence into a thought box, we forget all about enjoying a state of devotion and worship to the divine mystery. The instant we forget about the great mystery of this life, we initiate the suffering process. Every experience of this life thereafter becomes a challenge, as we live from the head and not from the heart. The mind is a master of continuously getting lost and believing all its inner thought structures are real. When our intellect holds tight onto fixed beliefs, it thinks life will feel more manageable, giving the illusion of control and the sensation that we are becoming wiser. Yet this hard-coded know-it-all mindset demolishes our childlike curiosity and abolishes any form of reverence for this deeply sacred divine mystery. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Albert Einstein. One of the greatest mysteries that possibly is ever discovered in this life is the human psyche. The human psyche is the accumulation of other people's thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that we've adopted and inherited as our own. All these beliefs from the entire experience of ourselves, other people, this world, and our entire reality. The way we think, how we think, why we think this way and not that way is the core network of our psyche and makes us behave more like predictable machines than alive cosmic orgasms. The human psyche, however, has a magical side to it. And whatever we accept as the truth becomes what we actually manifest physically into our lives. This may be one of the most awesome mysteries mankind has to explore. Our foundational belief structure is so powerful, pervasive, and penetrating that it always manifests itself in every single possible outcome and experience we have. The universe always supports whatever we believe. If deep down you believe you are not a lovable person, the universe will constantly manifest for you the most challenging people, negative situations, and experiences that support this belief inside. If you truly believe you are lovable, the universe will slather your life with sweet, loving beings devoted to caring about you, honoring you, and caring for your needs in the most intimate, vulnerable ways. This intelligent universe energy, universal energy, simply follows thought. Whatever you believe about you is where the energy flows and manifests into the entire show all around you. In this highly technological age, people these days tend to believe science easier than religion. If you can prove God is real in a lab, then it must be true. What's fascinating about this time frame in our lives is that the quantum physics of this world have ventured so deep into particles that they have had to merge their scientific understanding within a spiritual context. Their practical Newtonian vocabulary does not have the words to explain the outrageous results they are finding. They are having to use more spiritual words and concepts to bridge the understanding of these hard-coded scientific results. For example, they have taken two quantum particles that were spinning around each other and found a way to separate them by a few kilometers in distance. Later, they spun one of the particles counterclockwise. And notice that instantly the other particle that was kilometers away could also change spinning in this new direction. This study has been done many times with the same results. So they've concluded there exists some form of spiritual intelligence that is communicating between all quantum particles in this universe, no matter what physical distance is between them. Years ago, quantum physicists also proved in their labs that thoughts are actual physical measurable things. Actual physical measurable things. Scientists would observe a vacuum of space which had no particles in it. And they found that wherever the observers would place their attention, that was the place the particles would show up. They concluded through other more advanced studies that when the mind cultivates the ability to direct thought in one specific direction for an extended period of time, the person can physically attract, magnetize, and soon manifest an actual physical thing into their field of existence. It has been the 21st century now for a while. And the understanding that we are the manifesting magicians of the quantum soup of highly intelligent energy all around us has become an actual science in the quantum physics and the spiritually enlightened communities. The relationship between the mystic and the scientist were separated 500 years ago, and now the pendulum is swinging back towards their reunification again. It is our inherent curious nature to want to put labels on things, people, ourselves, and create a universal law of attraction that will solve this great manifesting mystery of life. We think we have a more concrete, global understanding of this life, then we can relax and rest even deeper into our spiritual nature. Perhaps only a fool would believe that we need something external to let go and relax internally. Why would we need to feel inferior to being one with Mother Nature, just so as to push away our insecurity and strive towards a need to feel superior? The human psyche, as I've mentioned, is the greatest mystery of them all. All that we have to do is to give up identifying with the body, with forms and limits, and then we shall know ourselves as the infinite self that we always are, always have been, forever, beyond, and ever. Ramana Maharishi. Maybe when science creates a machine to find the source of consciousness, then mankind will feel like a god. Yet, why take the long road? Why not just look inside your source of consciousness itself and discover real evidence of where consciousness comes from? Realize what consciousness is made of and why it exists, and relax into the greatest innermost mystery of them all. I have the feeling that in order for our world to solve these deep, outrageous questions in the future, quantum physicists must merge completely with the metaphysical mindset if modern science is to make any real progress. I'm guessing by now you're more interested in how your life can personally benefit from applying this enlightening path of understanding, the great mystery. You want to know how understanding the metaphysical manifesting mystery can make your life easier, more abundant, healthy, loving, happy, and financially free. In order for you to have access to manifesting anything and everything you desire in your life, you must first start with believing in one basic foundational understanding. Whatever we continuously focus our attention on grows, multiplies, and manifests automatically in our lives with the help of this natural, powerful, magnetic manifesting intelligence that's inside everything. With all this amazing manifesting power already inside us all, it's quite ironic that more people are not accessing it. Many of us are stuck in jobs we don't like, relationships that we lose energy battling with every day. We are either having some sort of food, drug, alcohol, or sex addiction that is taking priority over any real deep spiritual devotion and exploration. The basic reason for all human suffering here is simple. The mind keeps focusing on what we don't want, and thus keeps manifesting more of the same. New thoughts rarely have space to form, and after 70 or 80 years, the human being has wasted all its precious energy on magnetizing on what it doesn't want and doesn't have. The only reason we are not always manifesting everything that we want is because we cannot keep our mind focused long enough on feeling that they are receiving that one thing they truly desire to have. It's that simple. Once we retrain the brain to stay focused, fiercely, deeply, and resolutely focused, we will become the manifesting master of our worlds. When we practice meditation, we will one day attain mastery over our minds and actually reach a state of physical mastery over our physical world. Right now, the master is fast asleep, and the mind, the servant, is playing the role of master. And the servant is created by the outside world. It follows the outside world and its laws. Once your awareness becomes a flame, it burns up the whole slavery that the mind has created. There is no blissfulness more precious than freedom, than being a master of your own destiny. Osho. When it comes down to life-mind mastery within the great mystery, it is all about discovering the source of pure awareness inside. This is the simple, obvious awareness that is always watching, listening, and experiencing everything in your life all the time. It is the light behind the movie screen of your mind, responsible for projecting the entire picture onto everything that you feel, sense, and see. It is responsible for shining the light on every single thought and feeling that you have about anything. It's always the source of what you're experiencing in every moment of your existence. We don't give awareness enough credit. We rarely recognize that it's there and hardly ever take the time to sit down with it and relax into the source of it. The reason we take awareness for granted is because it is ever present, always here, now, just like the air you're breathing. Yet think about it. What if awareness wasn't present anymore? What would happen to our lives? What would we be without awareness? What would exist if there were nobody to be aware of our existence anymore? And sure, these things, and some are deep thoughts to contemplate. Yet when we do take the time to explore them, something magical happens. We start becoming more in touch with this divine state of awareness. Whatever we focus on is what we experience more of, and eventually manifest into physical action and form. Whatever we meditate on results in who we are going to become tonight and tomorrow morning. As we become more aware of the infinite spiritual source of awareness inside, we become more connected with what's totally in charge of what we're magnetizing. We can see each thought fly by and see exactly how each one is attracting, creating, and designing how our entire lives unfold and manifest. It is only when we become conscious of this perfect divine play manifesting inside us all and all around us that we stop fighting ourselves, each other, beating our heads against our inner emotional prison walls. When we stop pushing up against life and start appreciating that everything is an aspect of the great sacred mystery. We start resonating at a higher level of consciousness. We begin feeling more expansive when we wake up in the morning and greet the day with a childlike curiosity, creativity, and wonder. We do this because at the source of pure awareness, it's easy to realize there truly are no actual prisons in this infinite quantum field of intelligent energy. Prisons are only limiting aspects of our highly creative imagination. If you name me, you negate me. Kierkegaard. If you name me, you negate me. I find that at a karmic level, every person has a unique inner emotional prison. This is part of their unique soul's destiny. Every human came here to release the lie that their soul was fed. They came to re-experience the feelings of being confused, rejected, abandoned, hated, suppressed, depressed, and stuck in order to transcend them all. We needed to step harder on thorn hiding in our shoe in order to stop hiking up this great mountain and remove it with love. At some point, every day, we each run into some feeling of being stuck, blocked, or challenged by something or someone. We feel limited, small, powerless, or suppressed from our full expression. Every human mind already has the program installed to throw itself into some emotional dumpster repeatedly. There are many little thorns hiding in our shoes that we are unaware of. Thus, something terrible happens in the outer world. We get dumped by a lover. We end up trashing our self-esteem, our love for life, our feeling of being empowered, and falling into some treacherous feeling of being locked up in an emotional prison we cannot escape from. All of these thorny karma we carry may sound terribly depressing, yet it's good to remember that the universe is more loving, mysterious, and intelligent than we could ever imagine. There is a very beautiful yet unobvious reason why this divinely intelligent, unconditionally, deeply loving universe has set life up to throw each and every one of us through experiences of emotional pain, agony, and suffering. The reason is so that we stop everything we are doing and become deeply inspired to evolve in a spiritual dimension. The spiritual path is the only way we can remove all our thorns, break out of our thick mental, emotional prisons. The only problem is that the mind tends to get lazy and wrapped up in old habit and would never search for the keys to our spiritual freedom unless we felt deeply trapped, imprisoned, or stuck. The mind loves to create these emotional prison cells in the brain, as each one provides new fuel to blast off into a new experience of creativity, growth, evolution, movement, and eventually reach total liberation. So we all have these wonderfully perfect, prickly prisons constructed inside us. Each one is destined to create a deep yearning and desire to be free. We can reject this idea, ignore it, or accept it. Just notice what happens inside your body, either way. This search for freedom is as much as our destiny as the prisons we've placed ourselves in. There are no real enemies in this world. There are only imaginary shadows. The thorns in our shoes can be removed once we realize that they are also created by our own imaginations. We must move beyond the mind through the unconscious, righteous mind that believes it is aware, yet is truly ignorant and not worshiping the great mystery 24 hours a day. It is this ignorance that is our only real enemy. The mind that is deeply stuck in thought, in ego, and will only strive to create something new when some form of horrific pain, fear, or slavery begins bubbling up inside. The mind is imagining everything that we are experiencing right now. It is believing that our thoughts, beliefs and all our limitations are real. It is entertaining the feeling that being financially stuck is real, or that our relationships are never going to improve, or you'll always live in the same house forever. It has this idea that whatever challenging life experience we are having right now just may be that way forever. The sensations of emotional imprisonment sure do feel real, yet when we step back from them, we see they are just a conglomeration of negative thoughts. When we step back from the mind with awareness, we can understand that we are all the ones who have thrown ourselves into jail with our own imagination. From this awareness, then we can step out of jail and just with using our sweet, simple, yet all-powerful imagination, one who knows the self has nothing more to do, nor has he any more thoughts from then on. The infinite power will carry out all further actions that may be necessary for him, Ramana Maharishi. To acquire an out-of-jail pass, we must gift it to ourselves. We must choose to accept that everything and everyone in this life is part of this deep, sweet, holographic, infinite mystery. In this acceptance, we stop feeling limited. We see how our imaginations are co-creating everything, designing this entire thing we deem as reality. Then, and only then, can we understand what it takes to be free. By knowing what is creating the thought, we stop believing in all of its fantasies. We realize that any potential feeling of slavery is a choice from here on out. We understand that we always have the free will and choice and how we wish to interact and engage with any thought that enters the mind, and can keep it like a winning lottery ticket or toss it away like a used banana peel. My invitation to everyone right now for you is to not hold on to any beliefs that show up about yourself, others, in this life. Choose the mystery over certainty, just because it is more exciting. It's simply more interesting not to know, to not know, than to know. When you're living within the mystery 24 hours a day, you suddenly find yourself becoming spontaneous, free from hesitation, doubt, and barely have any fear. It requires all the courage you have to keep choosing the mystery over the normal way of being human. Yet, you will much more likely experience your fears as some weird bubbling state of excitement that's something you run from. You might even see your life as this wild, passionate birthing of random desires to engage and disengage from. Ultimately, it is a mystery how long or short your life is going to last. So why not start embracing it now? When we embrace the mystery as the way of living life, the mysterious way keeps us truly alive. We start abiding in a state of wonder, deep curiosity about everything. We stop defining who we are and start realizing that truly we are all actually indefinable. We start seeing amazing, intelligent energy is here now, directly in front of our eyes. Give love and deep, eternal, loving acceptance to those you encounter and notice what happens. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure we all are. The first thing that we care to do, absorb what I've shared with you in the quiet time, in this meditation. But we care to relax our bodies. And remember, you are the God in the body. You are not the body. You are not your name. You are not your personality nor your character. That's the body's, not yours. So how do you relax yourselves? Naturally. You let everything go. You literally face any fear, any worry, any anxiety head on. Embrace fully. Love deeply. Care. And watch what happens. And when you understand that you have this ability and opportunity to identify the body and the stresses and the fears and the anxieties and the worries, they'll vaporize. You just let them go. They aren't serving you any good. They're all conjured up by the mind anyway. It's really true. So the body will relax. Every single weight that you eliminate, vaporize, the body becomes lighter. Just like that hot air balloon. As soon as you start dropping that ballast out, those little tied at the end sandbags, it starts to go up. And the more you've done, the lighter it gets. It's no different with the body. The more you eliminate and dispel, the lighter the body becomes. And things that come into your life that you've manifested are not an issue. They roll away. Yeah, they come in, but they roll away. You're no longer distraught. You're no longer irritated. You're no longer fearful and stressed and worried because it comes in. You just don't grab it. You let it go. This is a way to keep the body in a sustained relaxation. No matter what comes in, you know you're manifesting it. You know that. We all do. We know we're the ones manifesting this stuff that comes in. Whatever it is, whatever situation, interaction, we're manifesting it. That's how powerful the gods are within these bodies. So the body begins to relax more and more, and you'll feel the lightness. You'll feel it in your heart-mind, right in the center of your chest. You feel it come over you. All of a sudden, it's like no concerns, really. No fears, no real worries, anxieties. You're in the now. You're completely in the now. The body is relaxed, and the only thing that you're doing, you're focusing only on the moment. Not tomorrow, not 10 minutes from now, only moment to moment. And that is in the breath that these bodies need. The breath is the divine positive energy. We move with the breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. It is sacred. These bodies could not support the gods that we are if they were not able to have the breath. We all know, not difficult, that if we didn't have the breath, we would have to leave these bodies. So the soul, the God within this body, powers the body. The lungs begin to function, gives the lungs the energy to have the breath to sustain the biological vessel to literally support the God. So the breath is the now. And whenever you leave the now, doesn't matter when, those thoughts, all those thoughts that aren't ours, that come in, we either let them go through, they pass by, we don't hang on to them, we don't grab onto them, or we're in such habit that we usually grab onto them. And then we go from in the now out somewhere else. We all do it. None of us are exempt. We all wander off here and there. Crucial to be gentle with yourselves, kind, generous, humble, and in deep gratitude 24/7, no matter what's happening around you. You will always find something, no matter how difficult things seem to be. You'll always find something to be deeply grateful for. You'll be amazed. And by doing that, you literally are not hard on yourself. You don't ridicule yourself. You're gentle and soft and kind with yourself and loving and humble. So you say, okay, wandered off on one of these thoughts that aren't mine, and I'll just focus on my breath. I'll be in the now 3,000% of the time. And at first it seems uncomfortable, at first, But then as you continue to practice it, it almost becomes second nature. You know. You're not arrogant. Your ego is not in control, or your mind. You just know. You just say, okay, I've wandered off again, the whole big deal. We'll get in the now. Focus on the breath. Now, some of us, we will, we have memories which are great, and we reminisce, and we're nostalgic in some things. And it's nice to visit those times in the past that we had experienced at a previous in the now moment. And so we embrace them and we smile, and it gives us a good feeling. And then we leave them alone. Sometimes we visit the not so good times that we can reference through our subconscious mind, where we pull the books off the shelf in our private library and we read them. And, okay, so I did this, but it didn't work out too well. So I know now I have a similar situation, but I know that I won't do it this way because it didn't work that way. This is how we learn. So then we leave it. We don't stay there. We keep moving forward always, never looking over our shoulders. We are walking with deep trust and faith in the gods that we are and the universe that embraces us. Always. We just keep moving forward and enjoy the center path, the edge of the coin, not the heads or the tail side, but the center, the edge, the middle path. Now, some of us will go in the past. And we leave it. We go and leave. Others will stay there. In fact, they'll stay there so long that they will bring it into a future that doesn't exist. They will create that future from that past, and they will relive that past in that future. That's why a lot of people will say, no matter what we do, we always seem to end up here. Others will go into the future. Now, the future doesn't exist. We create it in the now. But we'll go there, we wander, and what we do is we wander around and we're asking ourselves all kinds of stuff like, when is this going to happen? Why is this happening to me? Why don't I ever get a break? When is this going to happen? And how is this going to happen? And when am I going to meet this person? When am I going to get a job promotion? When am I going to make more money? And when am I going to get healthier? I mean, it's constant. We only have the now. And that's the ego mind that takes us into the past or the future. It doesn't exist. So we know how to stay in the now. We know how to be in deep gratitude 24/7. It's just to practice it so we become in the habit of it, because it is actually our natural state of being. Ego mind doesn't want us to do that. It threatens the ego mind. Because then, see, what happens is you still the ego mind, subconscious mind. It doesn't control you. When you steal the mind, you still the mind. You're only in the now. So you can be an observer, a watcher of the ego mind, of the subconscious mind, but you're not a participant. See, you're on the outside looking in, not the inside looking out. And when we do this, you can just focus without judgment. You focus on the ego and you say, okay, I'm learning more on how the ego works and the mind. And my direction is to master the two of them so that I direct them when I choose. In other words, they become beneficial. And then after a while, they are no more because we do not need them. This is part of the endless journey that we're all on. Now, we know that these bodies that we're all in are not ours. I mean, they're not us. They're ours while we're in them, but they're not us. We are not the body. We also know that the soul, the God, the pure consciousness, enters the body, which is heaven, and the body is the earth, so it's heaven on earth. We're literally heaven on earth. And we also know, because we're consciously aware enough, that every step we take on this planet, we're creating paradise. Not only that, we're shining our light, our God force love light energy, outward, 360 degrees, 24/7. So wherever you go, you can consciously, literally, flood your light of the God that you are, of the love that you're made of, out towards, around anybody. You send it out in 360-degree circle waves. It doesn't deplete you. It doesn't drain you. It is always omnipotently present. It is you. It's all of us. And understand that you're part of the ocean. You're part of all the parts that will ever be, ever beyond and forever. We have this illusion that we're all separate. And we're not. It's totally the opposite. But the bodies appear separate, right? So therefore you believe that all the gods that we are separate. That is not the truth. So picture that through your heart, mind's motion picture. Feel it. We are touching consciously, not so much the ones that are asleep, the parts of us that are asleep. They don't know. They will eventually. But we know to a certain extent. We know that we affect everything. Everywhere we go, we're affecting the energy that surrounds us, that we are. Doesn't matter. Your thoughts affect the space that you're in, wherever that may be. And you move from the head to the heart, and you practice being in the heart. The mind cannot comprehend the vastness of all that we are. It can't even come close to it. So you can visualize your heart, mind's motion picture an outer space, viewing this planet with over 8 billion of us, glowing so bright by shining our light that there's nothing in this universe that can come close to its brightness. There really isn't. And remember, we are the universe and the universe is us. We are the God and the God is us. We are pure consciousness and the pure consciousness is us. We are literally equipped to heal these bodies instantaneously. We just haven't gotten to that awareness yet. It is an absolute. It isn't questionable. It always has been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. This is all about us coming into physical form as the gods we are and learning, if it's to learn all over again, that somewhere we forgot, is to learn who and what we are and not really care, because the mystery is always there. And our curiosity, our childlike curiosity, is always there. You see how phenomenal that is, rather than this external world keeping us distracted through the ego mind, keeping us in fear, anxiety, stress, worry, anger, hatred, envy, all of it. We flow through these bodies. The gods that we are. We flow through them. We flow through every artery, every vein, every tissue, every molecule, every quark. We as the gods sustain these bodies. And isn't it interesting? We give the body the power so the body can hold us through experiencing. That's why the body, the baby body, isn't born or created outside of us. It must be inside another body that houses a soul, which then helps that little baby body sustain itself until you, the God, pure consciousness, enters that body. The nutrition is ended. Your soul takes over responsibility of that body. And the mother is finished with her task. Quite interesting, isn't it? We create, our minds and egos create all these fears, worries, grief, shame, anxiety, illusion, ego attachment that blocks the God that we are from evenly flowing through these bodies. And we all know those are the energy vortexes, the 7 wheels of life, the chakra. We know that we can change our form of pure energy because we're part of the one. By our thoughts and directing our thoughts as masters of the mind, we literally fashion whatever we desire, and it comes into manifestation, moving energy into form, creating it into reality, then experiencing it. Otherwise, manifestation, manifesting. And everything is a reflection of the God within us. It's just that many of us ignore it or don't understand it. So it's like when we talk about that we move through all of the chakras, when we get to the top of the head with the crown chakra, we transform our form, our energy, into pure liquid energy and release it over the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is an organ it sets in the brain, beneath, deep, and it's the gateway. It's the vortex. It connects us to all the particles of existence. And when it's fully healthy, functioning, happy, and wonderful, strong, vibrant, this is all the time because you're consciously aware of that, so that you can spatially travel to any particle that's part of you in all existence and beyond. And so, and we know that we view different things in our bodies differently than others do. You view the pineal gland, how? What do you view it like what? What picture do you see of it? How do you depict it? I depict it as a rosebud, a green ball. So when I pour the God energy that I am over it, it transforms it into a massive, fully bloomed rose, multicolored petals, sending off a phenomenal fragrance, and it showers me with these sparkling particles of energy that just saturate me. And it is the highest of the deepest eternal love, gratitude, and peace that one in physical form could ever experience. There isn't a description for that feeling other than nirvana, higher than samadhi, the bliss, the level of bliss. And then you discover that I am this. I am the pure consciousness, the God. And it's a reflection of the God within me. Once we discover really, truly, when we go within and we stay within and we discover and meet the gods that we are, you will not ever care to go outside again. Now, the body, the soul, the higher self, the spirit, ego mind, heart mind, subconscious mind, God, pure consciousness, all one. And so the parts of us are awake. Everybody, to a certain extent, that is in this meditation are aware consciously, to a certain extent. So we know that we have parts of ourselves that are just absolutely sound asleep. They're always with us because they're part of us, but they're sound asleep, so they don't hear us. Therefore, they can't participate in the meditation. So they're there. So we seek out, reach out all of the parts of us that are awake. All the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. Yet only those that are consciously aware that they're of and from the highest, of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest, of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this meditation, forming the circle of light and complete liberation of this planet. Now they come in the Google plexus. That includes all the ones on this planet. It includes everything. It includes beneath Earth, Agartha, hollow Earth, inner Earth. It includes everything. Our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes. It includes the archangels, cherubim, seraphim, archetypes. It includes the ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Morya, Abundantia, Pel, Thoth, Yahweh, Yeshua, many, many, many more. And all of them, only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest, of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest, of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, forming the circle of light, complete liberation of this planet. Now they come, all of them, they're in Guga plexus. And all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. One Gugaplex fills this entire universe with not even a sacred square inch to spare of space. Now they come in trillions, from trillions of universes from every direction. And all of them are with us now consciously. Feel that through your heart minds. It's absolutely magnificent. We form the gods that we are 24/7 in pure energy. And we're all gathered here. Arm in arm, hand in hand, in full compassion, non-judgment, non-negativity. Non-ego, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance, and we're all one. And we're all God, and we're all love, and our God force love light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, and it continues to intensify. And it continues to expand. We begin to levitate above this planet. We're immediately met with a massive ocean of glitter, reflecting everywhere, amongst us all gathered in this meditation, over 1 billion of us on and off world. Now this glitter is all reflecting, it's flashing. So we zero in on the reflective points, and we notice that these little microscopic, perfectly etched mirrors, we go within them, we discover that all of us, the Gugaplexes of us, are always teaching and learning with each other. We're either teaching or learning. We're either the teacher or the student, or both. But we're always learning, teaching, experiencing with each other. What a phenomenal structure. We're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all that we are the power of healing. It isn't even debatable. The ego mind will try to debate that with you until you're blue in the face. It isn't debatable. It is. We're then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. We are then met with the white fire. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all that from head to toe, inside and out, we are permanently imbued with a white fire armor. It emanates from the God Force Love Light energy within each and every one of us. Now, this isn't like a tank armor, body armor, or anything like that. It's way beyond that. Now, all the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies cannot come near us at that high frequency. They'll vaporize, and they know it, so they stay away. Demon possessions cannot happen. Attachments cannot happen. Any negative lower vibrational frequency cannot touch us, cannot harm us. We are protected 24/7 eternally. But only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency low enough, whether consciously or unconsciously, through hatred, anger, fear, greed, envy, manipulation, hurriedness, stress, all of it. You will lower your vibrational frequency low enough to create a breach in your white fire armor, allowing all the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. Then you can have demon possession, attachment, many things, of which none you would care to have. So then we have a double column of light, 2 steps. The first one is the purple transmuting flame. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame. We can transmute all of these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are no more. We are then met immediately with the violet ray. This is a column of light that reminds us all that we can bring in the violet ray right behind the purple transmuting flame, cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our highest of the highest high vibrational frequencies of pure, deep, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We are then met with the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that reminds us all that we created that we are the sun, the sunlight, the sunset, the sunrise. We are the rain and the rainbows. We are the skies and the clouds. We are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams. We are the soils. We are the trees, the forest. We are the mountains. We are everything, and everything is us. So the next time you do view a sunset or a sunrise, a starry lit night sky, a mountain range, an ocean front, it is you. You're the beauty. You're the majesty. You're the divineness. You're the breathtaking view. You always have been. All of us have. We always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. We continue to ascend above the planet. Some of us step outside our physical form if we're carrying them and float effortlessly above the body. We do this because we can. We come into full contact with this massive crystalline light tower. We created it. It's larger than this solar system. In the center of the column is this massive oblong sphere. In the center of the sphere is this golden white bowl of light. It is surrounded by numerous multicolored rings of light. And the golden white bowl of light they're all sending massive crystalline waves that penetrate us. Not water, it's just energy. It's pure energy. And the golden white bowl of light is the highest of the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love. Then we have well-being, gratitude, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, great wealth, great prosperity, great abundance, unending. And all of that is a reflection of the gods that we are within these bodies. At the top, we designed us so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, as it's doing right now, flooding all of us head to toe inside now, 24/7. All life, the highest supreme value in the universe. And we are drops of this golden ocean, and we contain the essence of the golden ocean. Golden ocean is the drops of the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. We see our meditative sphere set center circle. We all created this sphere over 3.5 years ago. It holds over 1,500 of our meditations in perpetual motion. Feel that. Over 1 billion of us, every day, consciously aware, focusing our attention, sustained in the liberation of this planet. The alleviation of all pain, fear, anxiety, stress, starvation. That's why this meditative sphere can be seen, heard, and felt, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. This is why it continues to intensify and it continues to expand. All of our thoughts, each of us, are so omnipotently powerful that once we become fully aware, then we are no longer being controlled by the ego mind. Rather, they are being directed by our heart mind. There are no limits for any of us to create into reality whatever we choose. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose. And an easy breath out the mouth. Move easily and slowly. And the way is beautiful. The way is full of flowers. And the way goes on becoming more and more beautiful as our consciousness goes on becoming higher. The moment we have reached the peak, everything becomes so sweet, so ecstatic, that we suddenly realize that this is the place, this is home. We were unnecessarily running here and there. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and into the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, August 18th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, and later that evening, the Time for Change call at 9 p.m.